You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Today, Crowder College hosts a game to help their students unwind after a new semester kicks off.
We'll start with the rain, and then once it begins, we sit back and await the transition to the freezing rain and the snow. We're going to have updated forecasted snowfall amounts from the Skywatch Weather Center.
Also, a document about Barbara Lee releases on Stars to help kick off the celebration of Black History Month. All that and more coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thanks for joining us for the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. Having access to a local hospital for the people of Bourbon County is within their reach once more. Representatives from Noble Health and the county yesterday announced they will be opening the Bourbon County Community Hospital. The hospital will be in the building of the old Mercy Hospital, Fort Scott, that closed back in 2018. Officials say a design firm is working on restoring the building, which will take several months.
There is a lot to still do, a lot of renovations. This building's been vacant for quite a while now, 3 or 4 years, and so there's a lot of stuff that needs to be done to get it back up to where we want it to be, to start seeing patients.
It'll be a community hospital. Will it look like your traditional hospital? My guess is no. I don't know that we can, sustain the traditional hospital model, but that's going to be up to Noble Health.
The hospital is located off of Highway 69 on the south side of Fort Scott. With the coronavirus still not under control, Oklahoma hospitals are calling in the military for their help as Oklahoma continues to handle full emergency departments and shortfalls in staffing. The federal government is sending military medical teams to OU Health and Integris hospitals in the Oklahoma City area. Officials say the help there could funnel down to our region.
That says a lot to someone to know that, okay, it may not be so easy for me today. It may not fix my problem, but someone is trying to help us out.
Military teams will be made up of physicians, nurses, and others. Starting a new semester can be stressful, but Crowder College helped that stress with a game night. Rough Rider Esports and Crowder College Project now hosts the Press Start Game Night. It featured pizza, drinks, and some popular games.
It's really nice to see students that haven't been able to find their niche find a home in our program, and it's been great to see them succeed and have people they can go to when they're having problems, and have someone like me that they can go to when they don't understand, like, oh, I need a transcript, or I'm trying to transfer, or I'm having trouble in this class.
The event was also a chance for students to get information about the esports team and scholarship opportunities. The Joplin area beekeepers are teaching some beginner beekeepers the basics of the trade. The group hosted a class on Monday to help beginners learn things like the ins and outs of a hive, the real job of the queen, and proper clothing and tools for beekeeping. Organizers say it's a great chance to learn about the excitement of getting to know bees.
I think just having the opportunity to work outside. So for my husband and I, this is a job that we get to do together. We get the opportunity to be outdoors, to really feel a connection with nature, and to really better understand the insects that we're working with. And it's just really, it's a lot of fun.
It's a beautiful idea. Beekeepers Association is hosting the class every Monday through the month of February at the Joplin Greenhouse and Garden Center. Well, pop, pop. Why am I doing that? Because it's National Bubble Wrap Day. Man, there was a bunch of bubble wrap sitting on Stacy's chair. I should have brought that in here. Those bubbles that feel so good to pop after they've protected a fragile item were actually invented for an entirely different purpose. Did you know? 2 engineers came up with the contraption in 1956 when they sealed 2 shower curtains together. The technique they used caused air bubbles to form. The pair figured it would make pretty cool wallpaper, but that idea never took off. Instead, they decided to sell it as greenhouse insulation. It was named Air Cap, and in 1961, IBM used it to protect one of its early computers when shipping. The bubble wrap we know today was born partially thanks to big tech. Now, tempting though it may be to pop those bubbles, you should resist. Doing so takes away the wrap's protective qualities, makes it less effective to reuse, which is why we pop it, because we don't plan on reusing it.
Let's go back to its original intent, because you and I have both been a part of major remodeling projects at houses that we've respectively lived in. Can you imagine your reaction if you went to redo the kitchen and there was bubble wrap all over the walls as wallpaper.
I know, it's bad enough that you have like floral wallpaper from the 60s and 70s, but it's like,
God bless those of you at home that still love wallpaper.
yes.
To each their own, just not our cup of tea.
Slap some paint on.
Right. It's like, oh, how many
Design.
layers do you have under here? Oh, okay.
Oh, when
And-
we started redoing our house, one room had 6 layers of wallpaper. 6! 6! Ironically,
Oh my
we were
gosh.
almost done with it and started painting after scraping off all of that, and that's when our house burnt down. And I'm like, man, all that work.
I'm sorry, I wasn't trying to bring that up.
That's okay. That's okay.
I
You know
feel-
what? We remodeled without any wallpaper.
Without wallpaper, folks. I guarantee you they had no wallpaper in there. A beautiful start to our Tuesday morning outside of Television City, where we're still waiting on the glow cloud to come up over the horizon. But I tell you what, it's hard to beat these temperatures considering we're at the first day of February, because we know that winter weather is headed our way. You can tell by the color contour out here to the northwest right there. The cold front's beginning to drop. But before we get there, we got to factor in the rain that will begin. We're starting to see just a little pop of green every now and then. That's not even really hitting the ground. But with the increased cloud cover and the precipitable water beginning to pick up from the south, eventually we're going to start with the rain, and then the cold front is going to take that, turn it into freezing rain, sleet, and eventually snow. So if you got to get anything done, let's get it done really before, say, mid-afternoon. That's going to be our best time frame, because even the rain, that's not too bad right there, even to about 3. But here's what happens as we get into the later afternoon hours. Our rain really picks up. We're talking about some hard rain right there coming up, especially through southwest Missouri. And then on top of that, of course, the pink, that's our danger zone, indicating the freezing rain and the sleet, and the blue and purple, that's obviously the snow. But as this sinks down, watch how this dominates 44 and portions of 49 all throughout Wednesday morning. So our Wednesday morning commute going to be very treacherous, because this ice accretion, as they call it, fancy word for amount of ice built up on our roadways, is going to happen overnight when it's dark. You get outside, get on the road Wednesday morning, it's going to be very hard to spot. Now, it looks like we get a break in the snow Wednesday morning, but that's a little deceiving. We've got round 2 that heads our way through Wednesday night as well. And so we're talking about a substantial amount of snow here building up. But I also want to point out that it's not only snow accumulation, but it's also sleet, because it's a little bit of sleet that equates to about yay much snow. So like I said, don't stick the ruler in and be like, well, that's not even close, because your ruler's not taking into account the amount of sleet. Look at these numbers up here throughout the northeastern portion of our highlighted counties, all through up central Missouri as well. Everything that hits the ground is not going to go anywhere, because our temperatures are bitterly cold, if not dangerously cold, especially considering overnight lows of 7 and 3 for Thursday and Friday. Tanya?
All right. Well, up next, how a lack of sleep can lead to issues with your heart while you exercise. And later, Jasmine Kyle from the SEK Humane Society stops back by to tell us more about the goings-on at the Humane Society and about their big chili feed coming up just in time for the Super Bowl. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Welcome to Sonic.
More than 75% of Americans have now gotten at least one coronavirus vaccine shot, but there's news out now that could potentially cause that number to jump. Elise Preston has the latest on a few promising developments on the vaccine front.
In an effort to protect small children from COVID, there's a new push this morning for Pfizer to apply for an FDA emergency use authorization for a 2-dose vaccine for children ages 6 months to 5 years old, according to the Associated Press. If approved, young children could start to get vaccinated by the end of February. This as nationwide, the number of daily COVID cases is on the decline, down by more than half since the peak of the Omicron surge. But some states are still seeing increases.
Right now, we still need to keep our heads down and stay at it to fight what is still, surging in parts of the country. But we do have the tools to get to a point where it does not disrupt our daily lives.
Among those potential tools, one that could convince Americans hesitant to get their shots to reconsider. Drug maker Novavax has filed for emergency use authorization for its protein-based vaccine, technology that has been used for decades in other routine vaccinations. And the FDA has now given full approval to Moderna's vaccine for adults 18 and older. Up until now, the shot was under an emergency use authorization.
We send you a whole hell of a lot of money, and we're going to send you more.
Monday, President Biden met with more than half of the nation's governors and promised more federal help to fight the pandemic.
We asked the president to help give us clear guidelines on how we can return to a greater state of normality.
The president urged the governors to use money from the American Rescue Plan to, among other things, keep schools open and safe. Elise Preston, CBS News.
Back to that Pfizer shot for young children. Early Pfizer data has shown the vaccine, which is 1/10 the strength of the adult shot, is safe and produces an immune response. A recent study finds lack of sleep can be harmful to your heart during intense workout sessions. Research by a Swedish university shows sleep deprivation can create cardiovascular issues despite your exercise and healthy lifestyle. Analysts tracked the heart health of 16 young men with no heart issues and adequate sleeping schedules. And when their sleep routine changed, researchers found an increase in troponin, a marker for cardiac injury, in their blood after exercising. Scientists noted the levels varied across individuals. However, experts say it can affect your heart in the long run. Well, drug makers are raising prices an average of 6.6% at the beginning of the year. After double-digit increases several years ago, many companies pledged moderate price increases as Congress explores measures to curb high costs. This price hike on drugs nearly matching the 7% overall consumer inflation rate in the U.S. Need an excuse to indulge in something hot and sugary? Well, today is National Hot Chocolate Day. Today is set aside to celebrate the chocolatey beverage. Mayans likely created the first hot chocolate some 2,000 years ago. Wow. The drink was often offered for stomach ailments in the 19th century. Good news, there are health benefits to treating yourself to a cup or two. Cocoa contains significant amounts of antioxidants, which may help prevent cancers. Studies have also shown the flavonoids in chocolate can also have a positive effect on your heart and memory. So curl up and warm up with a creamy cup. Don't forget the marshmallows.
Perfect for tonight into tomorrow morning.
I might have to put that on my shopping list. You know, they make, I have a little cappuccino 1-cup serving machine thing, and they make hot chocolate cups now too.
My daughter is obsessed with the one serving hot chocolate. Yeah, she's
They don't last very long in my house though.
Tanya, the hot chocolate is going to be spreading throughout the 4 states for not only tonight into tomorrow, all through the weekend. It's going to be so cold with our wintry precip coming. Daily Almanac as we open up the month of February. These numbers are, of course, from January right there until we get a full day under our belt. What a dry month that we had. So the rain is going to be needed, the ice, the sleet, the snow. I know a lot of people, I know a lot of you are anticipating the snow and looking forward to it. There's the cold front, the definitive line right there, kind of on that Wichita to Kansas City line. We are not only clear as can be, but also delightful February temperatures, 52 degrees. We've been rolling 50s pre-sunrise, so this is just absolutely perfect coming off of a day that was, you know, high. I saw some high 60s. Yesterday. It really was something else. But we've got a lot of moisture that's beginning to move up from the south, and that low pressure system with cold air, it is about to drop down on us. Of course, we'll get the combination and the collision that'll bring us, number one, we'll start with the rain, and then we'll transition into our winter weather. This right here, that's an indicator, bit by bit. As every time we check in with the Skywatch Storm Tracker, we're starting to see just a little bit more green pop up on the radar. Not widespread as of yet. Weather trend for today really doesn't kick it in until the afternoon hours, especially for the central portion, but important to point out that winter storm warning lasts all the way into Friday. So here we go for the afternoon. We begin with a scattered rainfall that'll actually really pick up. Look at the yellow and the orange that dominates portions south of I-44 and southwest Missouri for the nighttime hours, but the pink, that is the area of concern because that is the freezing rain and the sleet, and it dominates areas of I-44 and I-49 for early Wednesday morning. That's going to be problematic. Our road crews do a wonderful job, but this is going to be hard for anybody to overcome because on top of that, we then have a fair amount of snow. And when I say fair amount of snow, we're talking about accumulation numbers anywhere from 6 to 8 inches in the Joplin-Pittsburgh area. Tapers off 5 to 8 inches as you get south of I-44. Now remember, as a combo of the sleet and the snow, and then higher numbers northeast that not only stretch through our counties, but all the way into central Missouri. And then overnight lows that are dangerously cold of 7 and 3 for Thursday and Friday. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 and check in with our good friend Jasmine Kyle right after this.
Kansas Cross
tonight on Fox.
Welcome back. I've got Jasmine Kyle from the SEK Humane Society in studio again with us this morning, and you guys are gearing up for your biggest fundraiser of the year.
Oh yeah, it's game time officially. So we are just 2 weeks away from our largest fundraiser that we do every year, and that is our 45th annual chili dinner event. So we haven't been able to have it due to the pandemic for quite some time, so we're finally gearing up to bring this event back. For the community that doesn't or has never heard about it before, we cook almost 500 pounds of chili from scratch. The meat we get locally, the seasonings, the ingredients, everything is cooked. So the event is on Super Bowl Sunday, of course, at the Memorial Auditorium from noon to 3. And for the first time ever, we are doing an all drive-through system. There is no indoor dining. There are no tickets this year. You just pull up in your car, you'll pay through our little gate system. We will have 2 to 3 lanes with cash, check, and card. You pull on up. We're doing 2 things this year. We'll have our quarts as always, and that way you can buy 1 or 2 quarts and you can bring them back for your chili bowl game. That way you don't have to cook. It's amazing chili, to be honest.
Hey, we're planning your food for you.
Exactly.
You don't have to do the work.
Yeah, you can make it easy. You don't have to cook, and you're supporting our fur babies because 100% of the profits from this event go back to our organization to help pay for medical bills, to pay for utilities, to pay for special medical food for animals that come in. This is a huge fundraiser for us, and it's also one of our funnest, but with a fundraiser this large requires a lot of hands. So right now we need volunteers, we need help. We are needing right now as of today around 30 people, but it isn't a giant long day commitment. We have about 70% of our volunteer posts are only an hour. So if you can come for an hour, Saturday or Sunday in particularly, to come help us deliver out some amazing chili and to support some canines and felines that would really need it, we would really appreciate the support.
And I just checked with Michael. We're looking at seasonable temperatures for that day. So it's drive-through style. So even if you're helping out in the lines in the delivery party, you're not going to be standing out there in 3-degree weather. So that's nice. But it's still going to be cool enough to want to eat that chili.
I think Michael said a good thing of there is no specific weather where you can't have chili.
Yeah, so he likes it in 90-degree weather, but yeah. So how do you sign up to volunteer?
Just head on over to our Facebook page, and there is my email link, or you can head on over to our website and enroll into our volunteer program. Right now, we are immediately emailing new signees up with our upcoming volunteer opportunities for the chili feed.
And you don't have to pre-order this chili. You can just show up and pick it up that day.
Exactly. Yeah, we are not doing tickets this year. It's just you come, you get in line, and then we will fill your car up. For the last 3 years of the event, we have sold out. So we do recommend that you get there. It's from noon to 3. The closest you get to noon, the better if you are really not wanting to cook or you want some of that delicious, famous chili that we make.
Okay, and there's the quart options, but you could get like a meal option too?
Yeah, we also have a little dinner meal set where you get a bowl of chili, you'll get crackers, you'll get a dessert item. We have about 60 to 70 bakers that are all volunteering right now, and they are doing brownies for the event. And then you'll also get a drink of your choice that we have available.
Okay, well that's awesome. You got your days set for sure.
Yeah.
And of course, while you're online, check out the pictures of all of those dogs that are, and cats and animals that are available for adoption.
Yeah, please. We got lots of them in the shelter right now, and still a good majority of them are sponsored. We offer foster to adopt cases. So if you're a little hesitant and want more time with an animal, contact us. We will absolutely make that work as long as you are within our foster guidelines with the Kansas Department of Ag.
Okay, you can find more information about that online as well. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you guys.
Good luck with your big event coming up.
Thank you.
All right, we'll be right back.
We take this time to honor this morning's 4-state hero. Michael DeBoard, serving in the United States Army as a native of Joplin, stationed at Fort Bliss, Texas. We thank you, Corporal Michael DeBoard, this morning's four-state hero. A U.S. representative who's been called both a traitor and the conscience of the Congress is the subject of a new documentary. David Daniel talked with her about the upcoming film.
I was a student at Mills College as a young mother on welfare with 2 kids who's working in the community with the Black Panther Party, making sure people have something to eat. Social justice, that's always been just part of who I am.
Barbara Lee, Speaking Truth to Power, looks at the life and career of the Congresswoman from California's East Bay.
This bill is really an essential step in correcting the injustices of the failed war on drugs, namely the racial disparities in marijuana arrests and incarceration.
A host of current and former colleagues eagerly spoke with director Abby Ginsburg for the film, but Lee was more reluctant.
Abby Ginsburg approached me many times. She's a wonderful filmmaker, first of all, but also she's very persistent. Where 98% of my life is public, and I have to accept that because this is what I want to do in terms of public service. But Lord knows that little 2% that's personal is personal and private.
Lee found herself under the microscope after 9/11, when she cast the only congressional vote against an authorization of military force she felt was far too broad.
Central to democracy is the right to dissent.
She was right. It was important that her community understood the enormous risk she took in standing up for peace and justice.
The film shows Lee engaging with that community. Pre-pandemic, she flew home to her district every weekend.
We make those connections, that we intersect all our policies in a way where people in my district understand what affects one affects all.
People don't see her as the Congresswoman. They see her as their friend. They see her as someone who's their advocate, someone who stands up for them.
Continue to speak out, don't back down.
In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Barbara Lee, Speaking Truth to Power, is nominated for an NAACP Image Award and debuts today on the Stars Network to kick off Black History Month. Another half hour of news and weather on the way. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14, wanted for stealing hearts. Get this, he's a convicted thief, but he's winning the internet because of his mugshot. And if you love Mardi Gras parades like we love Mardi Gras parades, laissez les bon temps rouler. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. We'll be right back.
We're excited.
The four states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:32. Let's take a look at today's top stories. The former mayor pro tem of Purcell, Missouri, admits to stealing from the city and manages to avoid jail. And a deal with prosecutors, Nancy Wilson pleads guilty to misdemeanor stealing. Gets 2 years unsupervised probation. Authorities had originally charged Wilson with felony stealing for writing checks from the city and depositing them in her own bank account in March and April of last year. She does have to repay more than $2,500 to the city. Bourbon County, Kansas, once again has a hospital in their community. Well, they soon will. This finally means people living there will have access to a hospital closer to them. Representatives from Noble Health and the county yesterday announced they're opening the Bourbon County Community Hospital. Hospital will be in the building of the old Mercy Hospital, Fort Scott, that closed in 2018. Officials say a design firm is working on restoring the building, which will take several months.
Bourbon County Community Hospital is going to be everything that the citizens want it to be. There were several months of one-on-one meetings between Noble Health and individuals within this community, both business leaders, community leaders, people who used to work for Mercy.
Hospital is located off of Highway 69 on the south side of Fort Scott. Oklahoma hospitals have to enlist the military in their fight against COVID-19 as Oklahoma continues to handle full emergency departments and shortfalls in staffing. The federal government is sending military medical teams to OU Health and Integris hospitals in the Oklahoma City area. Officials say the help there could funnel down to our region.
That says a lot to someone to know that, okay, it may not be so easy for me today. It may not fix my problem, but someone is trying to help us out. Military teams will be made up of physicians, nurses, and others.
Officials with the Joplin School District announced plans to begin work on a new 5-year strategic plan for the district. The company Opinion Research Specialist out of Springfield is collecting input about what community members would like to see. That input comes in the form of interviews with students, graduates, teachers, and parents, as well as comments from people through an online program.
The thing that is really on everybody's mind right now is kind of that mental health component that has been impacted by COVID. That means, the stress that we've all been under the last few years is showing up in various forms. And I think there is really an acute awareness that that's something that needs to be taken in consideration.
Officials say the final draft of the strategic plan will be presented to the school board in April or May. Crowder College hits the start button on the new semester with a game night. Rough Rider Esports and Crowder College Project now hosts the Press Start Game Night. It features pizza, drinks, and some popular games.
It's really nice to see students that haven't been able to find their niche find a home in our program, and it's been great to see them succeed and have people they can go to when they're having problems, and have someone like me that they can go to when they don't understand, like, oh, I need a transcript, or I'm trying to transfer, or I'm having trouble in this class.
The event was also a chance for students to get information about the esports team and scholarship opportunities. We get it. For most of us, there is no reason to celebrate snakes. Right, Michael? You like snakes, right?
I have nothing wrong with snakes. The wise one used to tell me there's one good snake.
Ah, okay.
It's a dead snake.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Well, these slippery, slithery, spineless species actually have their own day, and that is today, National Serpent Day. Perhaps it's a good time to learn a little bit more about snakes to help take away some of the fear associated with them. Or maybe the more you learn, the more you'll want to keep your distance. There are about 3,000 different types of snakes, and only about 1/8 of them are venomous. So more often than not, despite being a symbol of evil, they are quite harmless. Snake venom actually has some positives. It's been touted for antibacterial properties and as a treatment for tumors for years. I worked in Texas for several years, and we would go to in Sweetwater, Texas, to the Rattlesnake Festival every year. It was like a week-long festival of
cottonmouths and water moccasins.
Yeah, like it was a competition to see who could go out and bring in the most rattlesnakes. Yeah, and then you'd watch them get milked. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's really interesting to watch.
If you've never tried fried rattlesnake,
I'm with you on that. We had a snake that joined us on the back porch. For about a week, and the wise one was cool with it, and then I realized that there was an infinite fear when there was one in the front yard, and it was not as cool as when it was on the back porch. Yes, it was kill it, Michael, please kill it now. Right, so there you go. But happy National Serpent Day to everybody. And say hello to the glow cloud as we're starting to see some gradual cloud cover build over the 4 states. Still a marvelous beginning to our February with drastic changes on the way for the afternoon and nighttime hours. 52 degrees is where we stand right now. A whole bunch of low 50s on the board, coming off of a day where we reached 68 degrees at Joplin Regional Airport for our last day of January. But now the cold front on that Wichita to Kansas City line, we combo that with a little pop of green that is slowly growing in our northern portion of the 4 states. Reason being, we're starting to pick up some precipitable water from the Gulf. Now, it's not impressive as it was way down to the south, but remember yesterday, if you joined us for the noon, we were all purple and dry, and so we're starting to see this creep all the way up to almost the Great Lakes right now, an indicator that when that cold front hits that, moisture, we got an interesting afternoon and evening on our hands that leads to winter storm warnings for our counties in purple. We start as the rain for the afternoon hours, pick up some heavy rain for tonight, but there's your important line, the pink indicating freezing rain and sleet. Lasts us into Wednesday morning. Tomorrow morning, plan on ice anywhere from 1/10 to 1/4 of an inch of ice accumulation. That is not fooling around when we talk about the roadways. And then after that, we sit back and let it snow all Wednesday long to the tune where we'll be talking about 6 to 8 inches in the Joplin area when you combine the snow and the sleet. Look at that, 9 to 13 inches up in our northeastern portions, mainly through southwest Missouri, but just crossing the state line into portions of Kansas as well. And then overnight lows of only 7 and 3. So after everything hits the ground, it's not going anywhere. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this.
Do you plan play at casinos and wonder why you...
Fox 14.
This morning on the KOAM News Now Facebook page in our morning Insta poll discussing the Winter Olympics. Beijing Olympics right around the corner. China with some strict policies related to COVID. Our question to you specifically, though, what Olympic events are you excited about? And I don't think it's any surprise that 35% lead the way with figure skating. And that's pretty close after that for second. Other comes in at 27%. But then we've got curling. Well, that was kind of interesting. 18% say, yeah, I'll watch me some curling during the Winter Olympics. Criminal charges probably are not a great addition to your dating profile. Probably swipe the other way on that one. This mugshot right here, this dude's able to pull it off. Jeannie Moose shows us how it's earned him quite a few admirers.
Those eyes, that jaw, those lips. He's a convicted burglar who's now wanted for stealing hearts. When British police in West Yorkshire released this mugshot and appealed for the public's help, little did they realize how much his looks would appeal. If I find him, can I keep him? Gonna leave my door unlocked? 37-year-old Jonathan Cahill is so wanted, women are offering do-it-yourself discipline. I'll take him in. He'll be severely punished. People are acting like they think they're in Billie Eilish's song Bad Guy.
So you're a tough guy, like you really rough guy.
Cahill served time for burglary, then was released and is now wanted for breaking the terms of his release. He's been called everything from the hot burglar to the fit felon. Remind you of anyone? The U.S. had its own Studley mugshot man back in 2014. There's nothing meek about Jeremy Meeks. Meeks went to prison for weapons possession, but his viral fame earned him modeling jobs. When he got out, he walked the runway.
Just because I want to.
For Tommy Hilfiger, and is still appearing in low-budget movies.
And I'm gonna come get you.
But in an online survey by TMZ, who'd you rather, Britain's Jonathan, outcharm Jeremy? One fan offered to tie him to the bed till police arrive. Maybe try restraining yourself. Jeannie Moose, CNN, New York.
That's what I'm doing wrong. Be back right after this.
Crypto became more mainstream last year with the ups and downs of Bitcoin and the explosion of interest in NFTs. So what can we expect this year? So far this 2022 year, Bitcoin's value tumbled almost 50% since hitting a record last November at nearly $70,000. Today, we take a look at 3 trends in the cryptoverse that experts say they're closely watching as the year unfolds.
The cryptoverse is expanding in 2022. Experts say interest in digital currencies and blockchain, the technology that powers them, is exploding.
This year is going to be exciting. There's going to be a lot of opportunities to get involved.
Here are 3 trends experts say we could see this year. Number 1, growing acceptance. Experts expect more people will likely invest in digital assets despite their volatility and extreme swings.
We've seen just in the last 3 months prices fall over 50%, and throughout the history of cryptos, you can see 80% declines throughout various times.
Trend number 2, embracing Web3. Web3 is described as the next phase of the internet fueled by blockchain technology. Experts say it's a series of platforms and products where users control their own data instead of big tech.
Historically, when we've used the internet, we've always consumed content or given our information to platforms that have then captured all of our value. Let's call it selling our information on Facebook or YouTube. With Web3, these platforms are now being designed such that if you create value for a network, you're able to capture that in the form of a token.
And that brings us to trend number 3, more regulation. Experts say lawmakers and financial regulators are likely to finally take action on digital currencies.
The space was unregulated. It was the wild, wild west.
But the sort of reality of that is that the more regulation it is, the harder it is for there to be these crazy investment opportunities that I think we've seen make crypto so popular before.
We'll be right back with more after this, but first let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell.
Get the max
online by scanning the QR code.
New Orleans bringing back Mardi Gras parades. No parades, no floats for 2 years due to the pandemic, and the Big Easy now bringing back the celebration for 2022. First such parade rolled through a neighborhood that's had its fair share of struggles, and that's where we pick up Harrison Golden with the story.
Down the streets of New Orleans East, the crew of Nefertiti rolled like royalty.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got the captain of the parade.
The all-woman crew and its allies celebrated the city's first Carnival Float Parade in about 2 years, and they're ready for more.
I'm so proud of the East. You know, the East came a long way, and we needed this. I feel like this took us up a couple notches.
They came from near and far.
Yep, art project.
Tina and Rob Yost live in Connecticut. They're visiting New Orleans to escape the snow up north.
So we got out of town right before the blizzard hit, and this is our first parade, and I'm pretty impressed.
And what they found here? Pure sunshine.
It could have been rain, hot, sleet, or snow, whatever. I'm here. I'm going to be, and I'm going to continue to support.
Dimitri Scott has spent years bringing barbecue to parades, and for him, this one marked a return to doing his thing.
Just interacting with the community, that's the best part of my job, you know what I mean, talking to anybody.
He considers the parade a gift, and Mariel Williams got some gifts of her own.
Queen type stuffed animal here, football, it's centerpieces, nice beads, but the most important thing that I enjoyed today was the kids to come out, just to see the children having a good time.
And they hope to see the crew right back here in New Orleans East come next year.
The crime will go down, but the morale, like everything in the East will go up if we do it annually, to be honest with you.
It shows how New Orleans is not violent all the time.
Thank
you. We could be a family when we
come
need
together.
to.
This is the East. I stay in the East. I will be in the East, and the East is coming back up.
Love to see that. Celebrations and parades continue in the Big Easy until Fat Tuesday on March the 1st. For those of you that are not longtime watchers of the show, there is a little bit of a running joke around here, and it involves me. If you can't laugh at yourself, what can you laugh at? And thanks in part to our great Will York, who runs our graphics in the control room. He hung out of this picture. I didn't know he had it. That is me with a mouthful of crawdads during a Mardi Gras celebration. Will, I love the fact that you brought that back. Like I said, if you cannot laugh at yourself, and yes, folks, that is my affinity for a certain type of seafood right there. Let's transition into our temperatures as we sit at 50 degrees on this first morning of February. Now we're starting to see the rain pop up in the north, an indicator that number one, the moisture is upon us. Number two, now we sit back and wait for the cold front. Temperature's not too bad today. It's going to be tonight after we drop down below 32 degrees because we'll have rain through the afternoon and evening hours until we hit that transitional period for late tonight into early Wednesday morning. The pink indicates the sleet, the snow, the freezing rain dominating 44 and 49 right there. Wednesday morning travel is going to be problematic. And then after that, we simply build snow because we've got a couple rounds that are going to work through all the way Wednesday night into Thursday morning. The snow doesn't want to stop. These are rather impressive totals that we're talking about. Anywhere from, say 6 to 8 inches in the Joplin area. Let's go back. I'm going to get to that map. We're going to go 6 to 8 for the dark blue, 9 to 13. And remember, that's a combination of both the sleet and the snow buildup right there. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Here's what's happening today. Pfizer is expected to apply for emergency authorization as early as today for a 2-dose regimen of its COVID-19 vaccine for children 6 months to 5 years old. That's according to the Associated Press. Early data from the drug maker has shown 2 doses given at 1/10 the strength of the adult shot are safe and produce an immune response. But last year, Pfizer announced 2 doses proved less effective at preventing COVID-19 in kids ages 2 to 5. The company is testing a 3rd dose, and that application could come in March. Road crews in Dallas started spraying highways with brine, prepping for a storm that's set to impact much of the country starting tonight. Forecasters say folks from the Rockies to the Great Lakes will get snow, sleet, and freezing rain, like Michael's been saying. Tomorrow, the storm will hit the northeast, and that's areas already digging out from last weekend's blizzard. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken and Russia's foreign minister are expected to speak by phone today regarding the buildup of about 100,000 Russian troops around Ukraine. NATO's Secretary General warns Russia may use joint training exercises with Belarus, set to begin in 10 days as a disguise to attack. Monday, the U.S. State Department ordered the departure of American diplomats stationed in Belarus. Let's check in with Michael with a final look at your forecast.
Well, our timing once again. So we're starting to see the rain pop here to the north already. And then we really pick up rain for the afternoon. Tonight, the transition to the freezing rain, sleet, and ice in pink. Snow to the north. And remember, this thing will last all the way into Thursday morning. Some impressive accumulation numbers when we take into account not only the snow, but also the sleet. And it's not going anywhere because we are bitterly, if not dangerously cold, especially with overnight lows in single digits.
All right, thanks, Michael. Scientists from Tufts and Harvard universities have successfully gotten frogs to grow back amputated legs. Okay. For their experiment, they used aquatic frogs, the same kind you might have seen in aquariums at your local pet store. The researchers made silicone caps, which resemble tiny thimbles containing drugs to reduce inflammation and help grow blood vessels. Then they amputated the frog's hind legs.
Okay.
Put the caps over the wounds for 24 hours. Over the next 18 months, many of the frogs grew new legs that were fully functional, almost as good as the originals. The biggest thing the new legs lacked were bones in the toes. That's not awkward. The results suggest frogs and maybe other animals have dormant regenerative capabilities that can be triggered into action. The study was published in the journal Science Advances.
Put yourself in the frog shoes going, Harold, I didn't sign up for this.
Well, I don't think he could wear shoes if he didn't have toes.
Thank you so much for letting us put the good in your morning. Be safe tomorrow morning, and we'll have more news and weather when we see you at noon.
Have a great morning and an even better day.
When stress shows up,